Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. A couple days ago, we said this could be a massive next couple of days and weeks for this Clemson program on the recruiting trail. A couple days later, Clemson lands a massive commitment in the 2025 class coming from four-star cornerback Graceson Littleton from the state of Florida. You guys see on the screen, right? Top 100 national prospect, considered a top 10 cornerback in this 2025 cycle. And then you dive into the film of Graceson Littleton and say, this kid is just a technician at the cornerback spot. He has the athletic traits that you want, right? 6 foot, 180 pounds. That is the ideal frame for a cornerback. Then you take a look at the track and field times. A 10.9 in the 100-meter dash was laser timed at a 4.51 40-yard dash. Ideal frame, very good long speed. And then you combine that with being a defensive back, a cornerback that is just extremely comfortable at the position. I think this is a massive commitment for this Clemson program. And you have to give a massive shout out to Mike Reed, the defensive backs coach. You talk about the young talent that's being acquired, but not only acquired, but developed within this Clemson program. Guys like Shelton Lewis, Avian Terrell, Khalil Barnes. I look at this Clemson secondary room and say, this is going to be some of the better units we see for the next couple of years. Fired up to get into Graceson Littleton. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and to the Clemson fans. It's been a blast covering this program on the recruiting trail, off to a very good start. Can't thank you guys enough for rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Graceson Littleton. And I want to talk about the technician that I think this kid is at the cornerback spot. Elite press man coverage. And this is a guy that thrives being around the line of scrimmage, putting his hands on wide receivers, routinely just squeezing wide receivers into the boundary, really cutting down on any sort of throwing window that these wide receivers can have working vertically down the field. That's a really rare trait for cornerbacks. There are just a lot of cornerbacks that you cannot put in that situation because they can't hold up in press man coverage. Probably the hardest thing to do at that cornerback spot. When you have a cornerback that can do it, it's a massive asset for this Clemson defense that it wants to be aggressive. It wants to walk safeties in the box, put pressure on the quarterbacks. In order to run that kind of defense, you need cornerbacks that can hold up on islands, put hands on wide receivers. That's exactly what Graceson Littleton can do. You get into the film, and again, just really, really impressive. First rep here, kind of showing what we're talking about. Press man coverage. This is a guy that wants to put his hands on wide receivers, squeeze him right into the boundary. And then you look at this, getting his head around to the football and going out, making a play. Really rare. This is a guy that not only has the freak show physical traits that you want, you're going to get a sense of that on this punt and return, really good movement skills, really good long speed. I love the physical traits. I'm not trying to overshadow the athlete that Graceson Littleton is, but when you get to that cornerback film and when you start breaking down how he operates as a boundary cornerback, that's really what you have to love the most. Again, an example, we're right on the line of scrimmage. We are putting hands on a wide receiver that looks to be quite a bit bigger than him, squeezing him out to the boundary. When that football's in the air, we're going to get our head around, make a play on the football. It is textbook stuff from this kid. And if you're a Clemson fan, you just have to be fired up about what he brings to the table. Again, getting his hand around or his head around, making plays on the footballs. How many times do we see young cornerbacks just not be able to get their head around and play the football? I know it's too many. As a Michigan fan, trust me, I've seen it too much as well. Graceson Littleton is not a guy that you have to worry about that. Again, elite skills. You see him as a special teamer, a guy that, I mean, quite frankly, could contribute early for Clemson in that as a special teamer. And then you take a look at what Clemson's doing in this 2025 class, all the way up to a top 6 class in the country. We talked about the amount of talent that they had on campus just a couple days ago. Elite along the line of scrimmage, right? Amari Adams, Isaiah Campbell, Ari Watford. You start taking a look at what they're doing along this line of scrimmage. Braden Jacobs at the offensive tackle spot from Buford, Easton Ware. It's a priority. I mean, Clemson is loading up with line of scrimmage play. Then you take a look at what they have in the back end. A guy like Tay Harris, who I think can just be an elite box safety for Clemson over the next couple of years. Yeah, who I think is just going to be a lockdown cornerback in Graceson Littleton. This 2025 cycle really coming together. You have your quarterback locked in, and Blake Hebert, a guy that the Clemson fans know I am just extremely high on. Dabo Swinney, the Clemson Tigers, really building a very nice class in 2025, and it has the opportunity to be really special, right? You land the commitment of a guy like David Sanders, that completely changes the narrative of this 2025 class. Off to a good start. A lot more work to do for Clemson in this 2025 cycle. We'll continue to keep you guys updated as the summer plays on. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.